Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, UKIP have made their first significant policy announcement of the election campaign today with a call for a ban on wearing the burqa and the niqab in public. But is it a policy that will meet with the approval of the man who bankrolled the party's last general election campaign, Arron Banks? He joins me now. Welcome to the programme.
Hello, Andrew. Hi.
Let me see if I can clarify a couple of things. Are you still a member of UKIP?
I'm a patron of UKIP, so I never stopped being a member of it.
So you are still a member?
I am. Apparently for life.
And are you still helping to bankroll UKIP?
Not at the moment, no.
Why is that?
I think at the moment we've had internal problems with UKIP, which I think have been well sort of aired. I think a lot needs to happen to the party, particularly in terms of professionalising it. And I think it's ill prepared for this general election.
Are you going to run in Clacton?
I certainly will be, if selected.
For UKIP?
Yes, correct, yeah.
Have you ever been to Clacton?
I have not. I've been to Clacton once with Nigel on the campaign.
So you're going to run in a constituency you've only been in once?
Yes. Why does that surprise you?
That you know nothing about it?
Well, I've only just decided recently to become the candidate there.
Why should, I mean, do you know where it is?
Of course I do. Your little piece the other night was completely wrong, by the way.
Really? You could find
As
it on
I said,
the map.
I knew where it was, but I didn't know much about it.
Maybe the people of Clacton, I mean, they'll regard you as a carpetbagger, will they not?
Why?
Because you've never been there.
I think most politicians are carpetbaggers. They're in politics for the wrong reasons, and I certainly will be down there to make a difference.
I always thought the reason why you wanted to fight Clacton was because of your just visceral hatred for Mr. Carswell.
Well, there certainly is that.
And he's not going to run now.
Well, he only lasted 24 hours after I announced my candidacy, so we'll see what happens. I mean, the main thing is I'm going down to Clacton Monday to meet the local UKIP councillors, see what the issues are, and see if they want me as a candidate. They may not want me.
Who do you think you'll be up against?
Well, I'm told that Giles Watling is a lovely bloke, so I think whoever they elect, he's the potential Conservative candidate.
Oh, the Conservative? No, I mean who in the UKIP will be?
I don't suppose anyone in UKIP will stand against me. I wouldn't have thought.
Really?
I would have thought.
Oh, money talks.
Well, why do you say that?
Well, you told me about having a pirate radio station to blast into Clacton, so it's not covered by the election rules. You've been talking about financing a sort of right-wing momentum movement. I just wonder if has politics now just become a sort of rich man's hobby for you?
Well, I think from my perspective, the reason I'm interested in it is that if you look at what's happening out in the country, it's clear the Conservatives are going to win a massive majority. I think UKIP's policy should be putting country before party and only putting up candidates against Brexit not against Brexit MPs.
Is UKIP over?
I don't think so. And in fact, I think the electoral mass is quite interesting because first past the post effectively could actually help UKIP in this example. The SNP won 50-odd seats with 1.5 million votes. UKIP got one MP with 4 million. And what we're seeing is a total collapse of Labour. Now, in that situation, in certain seats up north in Hartlepool and other seats like that, the total collapse of the Labour Party could help UKIP to actually win a few seats.
Is UKIP over?
Well, it looks that way, yes. They haven't made much of a dent in Labour's vote in the north. They don't really have a defining issue anymore, and all the polls that we've seen published since the election was called show UKIP voters going to Conservatives.
Is UKIP over?
It always happens when the Conservative Party goes far to the right, which it is, really hard Brexit. There is no space for BNP, UKIP and all of that. But what...
Are you associating BNP with UKIP policy?
Well, all right movements to the right of the Conservatives get eaten up when the Conservatives move as far right as Theresa May has gone. But I think what your enterprise shows is how it's really time to reform funding of political parties. It is disgraceful that very rich people can move in and bankroll the UKIP, the Brexit campaign to the extent that they did. We need proper state funding of parties.
Bankrolling
well,
Labour.
Not trade unions either. I want state funding of parties.
I assume the reform would include trade unions in your view, right? Is UKIP over?
Well, it's lost its talisman in Nigel Farage. It was a one-man party, I'm sorry to say. People liked him. Also, having voted for Brexit, its reason to be has gone. So it will still take votes off Labour and Conservatives, but only from probably the don't knows.
I think that there are seats in certain places where if enough Tories back UKIP, they could win. Hartlepool is a good example, exactly, where Tories will never win. Okay. So I think you've been slightly, the demise of UKIP has been forecasted many times before, but I don't see a Tory candidate winning in a place like Hartlepool. Okay. And so we could see, and I think we will see, a total collapse of the Labour vote.
We shall see. The leader of the party of which you tell me you're still patron, Paul Nuttall, he said that he would ban the burqa and the niqab in public. What's your view?
I'm not personally in favour of that. I think people have a right to their religious beliefs. I think there are certain circumstances where, if it's a security issue, maybe at airports or public transport, it's acceptable. But I'm not in favour of curtailing people's...
But in a way, you've gone a bit further than him, haven't you? Because you tweeted that you wanted to ban Muslim immigration.
Yeah, I mean, my view is that the problem we've had with lack of integration in certain communities has come about by mass open-door immigration. So I'm...
So if you're a Muslim, you just wouldn't be allowed in?
No, what I said in the tweet was, I think there should be a ban on immigration, particularly...
No, you said Muslim immigration.
Right, that's what I believe.
So
we have a Muslim
So if you're
problem.
a world-famous doctor coming to help one of our big teaching hospitals in this country, because you're a Muslim, you couldn't get in.
We've got to start somewhere. There's huge problems in these areas where 20% of the population don't speak the language. They haven't integrated in. We have to control immigration. In fact, if you read the rest of the tweet, it's control of immigration. A 10-year ban on unskilled immigration and
the first thing you said is to ban Muslim immigration. It's in black and white.
I've said that. I'm not disputing
No, and I'm just questioning that.
Well, there's
really
my
is
answer.
What you want to do.
My answer is you can't possibly curtail someone's religious freedoms, but what you can do is stop adding to the problem.
Doesn't that sound a bit like the BNP?
I don't think so.
Like BNP, like Trump.
Well,
it's just, you know, we hate Muslims. Fine,
well,
that's what you're standing for.
The final word is that we've had open door mass immigration from the Conservative Party, we've had it from the Labour Party, and it's fine for you in North London to say these things. If you live in Oldham and your community has been radically changed and you've got a whole population there that are not integrating in, not speaking the language, something's got to be done.
All right, we better leave it there. Thanks for coming today.
No problem.
En route to Clacton.
En route to Clacton.
We'll see how you get on there.
Thank you.
Now, Lib Dem leader Tim Farron was on TV earlier today, and he was asked again about an issue that he's been asked about repeatedly, his attitude to homosexuality.
You said homosexuality not a sin. They say that you didn't answer when they asked you whether gay sex was a sin.
Oh, come on, Robert. I mean, I've been asked this question loads of times over the last few days, and I have been clear, even in the House of Commons, being gay is not a sin.
But is sex between consent...
Robert, I think, if I'm honest with you, it's possible that I'm not the only person who's getting tired of this line of questioning.
No, probably, but then why don't you just close it down?
You know, in America...
By being unambiguous.
Toby Young, why does he get into such a mess over this? I mean, he is leader of the Liberal Democrats. It's 2017.
I guess the reason he keeps refusing to answer that question is because, well, the implication is that he does think that homosexual acts are sinful, and he cannot bring himself not to say that, or to say what Peston and others want him to say, because he is an evangelical Christian who converted at the age of 20, 21, and clearly he really struggles with this issue. And I think it's going to be very difficult for the Lib Dems to promote, or even Lib Dem candidates like Vince Cable to promote this idea of a progressive alliance, even though Tim's ruled it out, if he's not prepared to say, no, I don't think homosexual acts are sinful.
What's your feeling, Paul?
Well, I think it's disastrous if that's what he really thinks, but Peston didn't push him that hard. I'm not sure he totally understood the difference between the question about gay sex and being gay. I think he just thought he was going on saying, no, I'm not anti-gay. He needs to come out immediately and clarify it. If you're right, and he does actually think that it's a sin, he's in real trouble.
There's a slight parallel with what Polly said before about Jeremy Corbyn, how his unilateral nuclear policy would appeal to the hardcore of the left. The problem for Tim Farron with what he's saying here, while it's an evangelical Christian view, this is not going to appeal to traditional liberal Democrats. an LGBT member of the LGBT community cannot possibly vote for an MP who believes that the sexual act between homosexuals is sinful, and he's not made that clear. And of course, he wants to stop Brexit as well, so he's neither liberal nor democratic.
Well, he'll have 7 weeks to make it clear, because I'm sure he'll be asked again. We had the chairman of the Conservative Party on earlier, Polly, an important figure for the Tory campaign. What did you make of what he had to say?
I don't think you'll be having him on very often. I think he didn't do brilliantly. I think they'll bring back Chemical Ali Fallon. He's the one who can say anything with a straight face. He can say black is white.
Michael Fallon, the
Michael
debater.
Fallon.
Chemical Ali.
Yeah.
Why'd you call him that?
Well,
Because he can say whatever.
He can say.
I see.
He can
Right. Bit slow
absolutely
on the
say
uptake
black
today.
is white, and it's totally. I think, for instance, if you look back at what he said, you were challenging before about the energy policy. When Ed Miliband came out with an energy policy, he said any kind of freeze will stop investment, the lights will go out. Well, you'll have him on, he'll say the exact opposite. He's magic at that, but I don't think your guy today was up to the job.
If Michael Fallon was Chemical Ali, or should we say Chemical Fally, really, Patrick was more like Comical Ali, and perhaps, but then he was only the warm-up.
Well, Iraq Wallace rushing back at me here.
He's only the warm-up comedian. You know, there's another 6 weeks to go. He's getting the thing started.
What did you make of it?
I didn't think it was too bad. I mean, I think it was difficult for him to say. Difficult for him to say that exactly what was in the 2015 manifesto is going to be replicated in the Conservatives' manifesto during this general election. He doesn't want to seem to be rowing back on stuff, but on the other hand, I don't think he can conceal the fact that there's going to be far fewer commitments in this Conservative manifesto than in the last one. As you and I know, it was full of rash promises last time because they thought they'd have to trade a lot of them away in negotiations with the Liberal Democrats to form a second coalition. So they're now saddled with policies they don't particularly want to be hemmed in by. So I think the forthcoming Conservative manifesto will be much lighter, much shorter, fewer commitments.
Different.
But I think if
some stuff junked from the 15 manifesto.
I think so, but we'll also see, I think, a commitment to grammar schools to overcome that hurdle in the next Parliament. And I also don't think, Polly, in spite of what you think, that it'll be a hard tack to the right. I think, if anything, the mood music of the Conservative manifesto will be a centrist, inclusive one.
Indeed, the mood music will be, because the specifics won't be there. We know that she's very good at saying, you know, governing for everybody and the many, not the few. But when you look at the hard facts of what her and Hammond's budget looks like, you look at her hard Brexit, it's a very different story.
All right, well, the music has stopped for this week on the